Is Christmas a white holiday to you? Is that why you can't? Is that why you? What's going on, Creme? Talk to me.
I've never been more offended over anything you've said to me. Going on with you, or you know what? What's your favorite album this year? I've been waiting to ask you that too.
Clips. In all honesty,
I think
clips
that's the
got
only choice. That's the only choice.
clips. In all honesty, I don't really remember any other albums that dropped this year.
It's really crazy, right?
Yeah.
This could be a
All
whole
right.
nother conversation. What?
Are albums coming and going now, like trends?
I think I like really I'm at a point where like part of me is like, okay, I don't want to be a victim of nostalgia and like sound old and shit. But when I think about how many like really monumental or like really cool, important, impactful projects used to drop when we even as much as to like when we were in college, let's say up to like 2016, but especially like '08 to 2016. And you look at that to like now, like we used to get like 4 projects a year where it was like, yo, like have y'all heard of this person? Or like, yo, this is an epic, like, you know
Do
what I
you
mean?
do you think that was more related to the fact that we were growing as teenagers and young adults at that time, or just the actual impact of the music?
That's why I say I don't know how much to say nostalgia versus.
Well, I feel like as I say that, I'm thinking back. Like there was albums that dropped as we were growing up that changed the culture. Like I would
Exactly.
never not say that Drake didn't change the culture with Take Care. Like Take Care changed the culture, bro. Like niggas was dressing different, singing the bitches and shit. Like niggas was moving differently. Light skinned
Yeah.
niggas was up when that dropped.
And
And
we
so
had
it's like,
so many like really like niggas at that level where it was like by the time Drake came in, I was like, who was in the game? It was like Wayne, Kanye, Hove was still putting stuff out. It was the beginning of Cole, Kendrick, like at that time you had
T.I. was still
Wale,
putting
Rick
stuff out.
Ross, T.I., yeah. And it's
T.I.
like
was
how
still putting
many
who
how
we don't speak on him enough.
who T.I.?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that you said that cuz like
Should
just
I intro real quick?
yeah. So, just the reason I've asked you to intro because, you know, you were already on an episode. I gave it like a brief intro, unlike the intro I did on the pod. But yeah, just talk about who you are and why, not why you're here, but yeah.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Xaii, 20. Well, I was gonna say 20. I'm not 20 nothing no more. 31 from Dallas, Texas, where I am from Texas. That's my motherfucking mantra. You know what I'm saying? We back home. But yeah, life's been good. Life's been chilling. Just applied for college recently. Hopefully that's gonna come through. Really, really, really got my fingers crossed on that. Also, just started doing financial aid. A little bit scared about that because Trump took the whole Biden. What's that shit? What is that? It's not a law. What is
The,
that shit?
the
Legis-
freezes or the
Well,
what?
yeah, where he froze the financial aid debt,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Trump took it back. So now I'm a little bit afraid to get financial aid. So I'm looking toward going to grants and stuff. You know what I mean? So hopefully everything falls into place so I can pursue my college education. But other than that, copacetic, man. Things have been good. Things have been flowing, and so just riding the wave of positivity. I'm feeling a lot better now that I'm back in Dallas. I feel more like myself again, and which is interesting because I didn't think that I would feel that way because I felt like Dallas would be so different, and it is. It is. It's also still the same, like the place that I remember it to be. But I guess the impact of those memories are different now because I've had a different experience out there in Portland, and coming back, it's like, oh, this is still what I remember, but it feels different now. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with stuff right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to T.I., what were you finna say?
No, T.I. was like, so my stepdad, my mom like didn't listen to anything, and my mom was super Christian, so nothing secular really made it into our house. And then she met this nigga named Steve, and they got married. And Steve started driving me around everywhere. And Steve loved T.I., Steve loved Young Jeezy, Steve loved fucking like just a lot of like
Steve loved
Freeway,
Atlanta.
Jody, yeah, Atlanta, but also just like a lot of East Coast, I'll say overall stuff in like 2004, 2000, basically like when I would have been in middle school or like elementary school. And so like T.I. was like the first rapper I listened to heavy, and I don't know, I have so much like nostalgia
He
for that
goes
time
so
because
hard,
he
man.
goes so hard. Like for several albums, I mean, even couple years ago at this point, it was the Free Nationals album, Anderson .Paak's band. They put out an album that had a T.I. verse that was incredible. So his longevity at this point in terms of being a really just like a great rapper is incredible. The amount of songs he had that were like, I don't know, like that felt, as someone who was in Atlanta at that time, like felt life-changing, culture-changing. Like obviously Jeezy was right there too at the same time, and they had their beefs and Gucci and all that. But all three of them niggas, if you were in the streets, it felt like for years straight, they just were constantly dropping fire, dropping mixtapes, dropping albums.
Gotta give it to Shawty Low. We also gotta put some respect
For
on Shawty
sure.
Lo. I'm saying, Hello, bro.
I mean,
Shawty Low is so hard, man. I miss Shawty.
Shawty Low. There was a lot of like Bone Crusher, like Pastor Troy, like there was a lot.
How did Shawty Low die? Did he get shot?
I think Shawty Low got shot. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but there was a like D4L. Is it D4L in it? Yeah, D4L, because that was Rocco. Rocco too, Fabo. There was a lot. Young Jock. Like, bro, there was. Like I'm saying, I was there for all these niggas and like had all their, not like my stepdad had all their mixtapes, and we're just like, so that's like why I look back at Atlanta hip hop so fondly. Like I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how lucky I feel that like my favorite art form ever in history was like I got to be there for it. You know what I mean? Like if you're like someone who's like, man, I love Renaissance painting. I think just like what Michelangelo and them niggas was doing was like the most captivating shit ever. But you got to live in Italy whenever that shit was happening. Like that's the experience I got to have. So that feels really special. And T.I. to me was the first one. Like he was the king of the South. You know what I mean? He was the first one. Obviously you had Outkast and fucking who was with Outkast?
Goody Mob.
Goody Mob, yeah. Obviously you had Outkast and Goody Mob and a bunch of other people before them, but T.I. was really what felt like it got it jumping nationally. Like obviously Outkast did, but nationally in a way that wasn't like the Outkast weird kind of Tribe Called Quest like pseudo backpacky way. You know what I mean? It was like the first street nigga from Atlanta. It felt like to take it national.
Rubber Band Man's to this day is crazy, man. That beat can
drop
it.
The beat?
Yeah, the beat can drop it
anytime.
Anytime, man. I can just I know the chorus by heart without hearing the song in years.
The one with Bring 'Em Out with
Yeah. But I used to do gymnastics. My aunt had a mix of Bring 'Em Out with the Missy Elliott track. They were like mixed together on top of each other. Low key flawless mixing. And still to this day, one of my favorite mixes of anything I've ever heard. But we had a gymnastics routine to it. And so Bring 'Em Out, like, that shit was, like, constantly something I listened to all the time. You know what I mean? And so, like, Bring 'Em Out was definitely fire. He also has, like, surprisingly, he has a lot of, like, anthems. Like, a lot of, like, songs that like you said, like, capture a moment in culture, but can be, like, universally, like, positive. You know what I mean? Like, people can have a good time. Like, you were in Atlanta, I was in Dallas. Like, I like T.I. was everywhere. They everywhere. You know what I mean? So like it didn't matter about the regionality of it. Like you said, King of the South, T.I. was everywhere, Jeezy was everywhere. Everybody knew Outkast at that point, you know what I mean? Hey, y'all had already taken over. It took off whenever it did. Which was that, 2002? Anyways, that shit took off. And yeah, just, get to be there for it, but he was everywhere. You could not escape him. And I also feel like we don't put enough respect on that era, like the early 2000s. Like when we talk about like great albums and stuff, we talk about like 2009 to 2016, which leaves out a large gap of amazing albums. Like we cannot forget that before that, the Carter 2 dropped. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that
Juvenile,
was
400 Degrees. Yeah, no, the South was holding shit down for a while. When you throw Texas and Louisiana and Memphis, 2000 to 2009 unquestionably was the South in terms of like,
and Florida. We can't forget Trick Daddy.
Oh,
and Trina.
Yeah, nah, it was cool.
Was Trina Atlanta or Miami? I thought she was Miami.
I think Trina was Miami.
Not sure.
Either way, it feels kind of, I don't know, the internet's cool, but regionalism was really cool too. Like, cause
Yeah.
all those places it felt like had their own little
Wow.
empires. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like DJ Screw. That was an empire, but it was just like in this one place, and there's this one sound, and like we can go back to it. But like, I don't know. I think about it all the time. Like, man, like I don't know. All the cities we live in now, it's like there's not really like people. I mean, obviously there's big rappers in Portland, Seattle, Dallas, I'm sure. But it doesn't feel like people have just like cult followings in their city anymore
No,
like
not
they used
anymore.
to.
Only the last one remaining is Playboy Cardi. Playboy Cardi has the last cult following.
Man, he has a cult following. It's so funny that you say that because I was at an open mic this week, and there was this like the dorkiest looking, like 25-year-old like pale red cheeked white kid who was like super polite and like super silly, and we're all talking about our Spotify Wrapped and we're all saying our top artists, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Playboy Cardi," and I'm like, "This is like like that's not like that's a feature of every rapper," and I'm sure when we talk to Kendrick we'll get to that, but I don't know, his cult following feels very internet. It feels like the most internet
Well, yeah, I
to
feel like,
me.
but that like he is. I don't disagree, but he's also the one artist that has a following like that can also still sell out.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
think there's
I would
sellout
also,
arenas. I think there's a lot of people who are like selling out like smaller shit, like that are still like national acts that are
you don't
like
think you don't think
underground.
you don't think he's arena level yet?
No, I said he's the only one in that at that level who can sell at
Yeah,
arenas. I think there's a lot. There's actually like a lot of smaller artists who like could definitely sell at like small theaters and shit, and they're doing
yeah,
that without being like mainstream at all. But he's definitely the only one where it's like, you go city to city, and there's like mobs, legions
yeah.
of sweaty 20-year-old white kids.
Hey man, they're Cardi fans. They're
No,
Cardi fans.
I'm a Cardi fan. We're all just, it was so fun talking to him
Look,
about being like a Cardi fan for like 10 years. Cause you know what I mean? Like we're extremely unk in that community, but also like he started making music when we were still that age. So like,
man, that's what's so crazy to me. Like I realized now that I'm up when it comes to the music. I forgot who it was that I heard. I was like, all right, I'm unk status now. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to just roll into it and accept it. But I will say, as like being interested in music myself, still I do plug into the little niggas.
oh, for sure.
And who has my eye right now is the little nigga Baby Chief Do It. That little nigga is when he turns 19, 20, I want to see where he's at with his game because he really can rap, but he's really, really young still. He's like 16 or something, you know what I mean? So it's
He's that
like
little, that kid that looks like the nigga from the Boondocks.
yeah, that looks like Riley
Yeah,
that had
yeah,
that
yeah.
one meme where he's like this.
Yeah, I haven't listened to his music, but I will. I heard him
And
on the Chance album. That's the only one.
yeah.
That's the only
I mean,
feature
you're
I've
not
heard.
really missing nothing. It's what you would expect from a young nigga from Chicago. You're not really missing nothing, but it's like it's
You see
impressive
potential
because he's huh?
because of the potential.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like when you hear him rap, you're like, all right, like there's something there. Clearly, I'm not gonna take away from the fact that what you're talking about ain't shit because like you can talk about nothing pretty well. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, but I do think that there are some young dudes out there. I have I have found a new appreciation for young white rappers because I used to hate white
Oh
rappers,
boy.
right?
Oh boy.
And so
What does that mean?
um,
Who is the young white rapper in question?
1900 Rugrat. I do like 1900 Rugrat only because the first
See
song I
now,
heard,
now I'm unk. Now I'm unk.
1900 Rugrat is I think he's from Florida, but
hmm
the reason why I like him is the song that I first heard from him is a song he got called One Take Freestyle, and the first bar is full of so much self
Oh,
awareness,
I think
and
you
you
sent me
gotta
that.
love it, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you sent me that.
Yeah, where it's like, white cracker got an AR like he's shooting schools up. I'm like,
Mm.
self awareness. We love to see it. We love to see it. You know what I mean? So I was a fan since that bar. I'm like, all right, I got to see what else you got to say. And I
Yeah.
got to say, Lil Nick correct. Lil Nick correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sneaky have my eye on Ian. I like a couple Ian songs, and I also
Yeah,
like,
I'm right there. I like Hate Me.
yeah, I like Hate Me a lot.
Yeah.
I think we talked
Only
about
really.
this. I like
Go
you
ahead.
gotta listen to Pack It Up. Well, I think when we said that, I think we talked about it briefly, but he is also very self aware. For the album
Who?
promo, Ian,
Yeah.
for the album promo for his most recent album he like did a trailer that was making it look like he was about to drop a country album, and everyone was in the comments like, oh, he's making the switch, like, oh, here we go. But it was like very clearly like a parody of that, you know what I mean? And so I have respect for that. And every time he gets clowned, he figures out a way to get in on the joke in a way that's like, you clearly, there's the level of like, I don't give a fuck about the internet at large is impressive to me. So, I mean, I think
I never thought I'd be giving white rappers credit. I never thought I'd be here.
Yeah. Who walked so they can run? I'm trying to figure out who was.
I want to say MGK, but nobody will respect that. We can't say Eminem because niggas, they're not young Eminem.
It's not the same. Yeah.
Riff Raff and Mac Miller.
Riff Raff and Mac Miller. I think we have to give it to Riff Raff because Riff Raff, he's kind of the foundational text for being a rapper on the internet today. Like that's kind of he was kind of, man, niggas weren't there for that. I think
was he the journeyman of hip hop?
Well, journeyman, and also like, I don't know. During the blog era, he was like the first. He did the transition from like meme to actual rapper better than anyone. Cause like,
do you remember the show we went to?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember we were like, we got it?
Yeah. I'll never forget that. Nah,
that nigga laid down on stage and ripped the line.
To do a line, and I was like, buddy, this is the most suspect way you could do it. You couldn't do it a way that's more drawing attention to it. Like literally, you could have done it off your finger and it would look more innocuous than bending down to do it off of like a table behind a speaker.
Wasn't even a table. Remember, it was his manager, that white lady that was in the back. She was bringing that shit to that nigga in the bag. She was holding that nigga bumps. That shit was crazy, bro. That shit was crazy.
Unironically, pray for niggas' health. Because, like, I get doing coke, but if you're, like, buying coke city to city, that's so dangerous, bro. That's so dangerous.
What? No. What if he gets a lot and he's rolling on the bus with it?
That's equally dangerous, but for a different reason. You know what I like? And that also requires a lot of cash up front, which I'm.
He's Riff Raff though. We gotta give power to the whiteness.
Do you think he's got a lot of cash up front though?
Nah, I think he has a cowboy accent that he could throw on that disarms cops.
Yeah, he seems like a nigga that could break character. Like someone could
real quick.
Be like Riff Raff scene at like what is it, like a pickleball tournament, and he's just fully white guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Not 1%. That's a massive. But the Unk it's a good. I mean, it's past now, but this is a good segue to get into the YNs and quarter zip.
The quarter zip thing. So I am.
Please,
I guess
intro the premise of what's happening, if you don't mind.
So the quarter zip phenomenon is young niggas are switching up the swag and they're associating like being more mature and like elevating their style into a more like professionalized, like clean cut manner with quarter zips. And like that is the change. Like niggas is trading in the shiesties for quarter zips, they say, and the Balenciagas for loafers and shit like that. You know what I mean? And so that's like the wave, which I feel like is beautiful, is equally beautiful and equally problematic. Because like I feel like there's not enough articulation to what that is actually being implied there, and we're leaving too much up to optics. Because optics, like, go ahead.
Do you think? Because, and I agree with you for the most part, in terms of it being like a difficult thing to manage how you feel about. But how earnest do you think it was initially? Like how do you think of? Yeah, because I think it's like unarguable that it's being taken seriously now, which is all that matters, frankly. But what do you think the impetus for it was? Like, this is funny, or like, nah, we really leveling up on niggas?
I feel like it started off funny, and then honestly, what I feel like it started off funny, and then somebody got a lot of women, or not, I'm gonna say a lot of somebody got Riz. Like they were like, oh, the Riz is high, and then that shit. That's why it really caught on because
Yeah.
we got to keep it a book. Like every heteronormal man like does most of what they do for women. You know what I mean? Like for to get like attention, or whether
Sure.
it be women or whatever to get attention. And I feel like there was a response there to that like movement, and it leaned into people like taking it more seriously because I also feel like when you do don a change like that, it does come with somewhat of a lifestyle change. Like if you was a nigga in shiesties on the block doing whatever, you cannot do that in quarter zips. Like
Yeah, you
you
can't
can't.
just be on the block in a quarter
Yeah,
zip.
you just can't do that. And so it's like, if that's what you're doing, it does come with a behavioral change with it. And I feel like people started taking it serious in that aspect, where it's like, well, I'm really doing this. I'm not on the block anymore, and I actually I enjoy what I did not on the block today. So I'm gonna do this more. You know what I mean? And so it starts to become a more serious thing because when you do it, and somebody who saw you on the block, like, oh, look at you now in the quarter zips, nigga, you fraud, and then you gotta show them like, nah, I'm still like that. You know what I mean? Don't let the quarter zip fool you. I think it's where a lot of people, like a lot of YNs, start taking the power back from it, or like actually making it something that they felt like was something to stand for. But my issue with it, and I do have a kind of a strong issue with it, is the simple fact that nobody likes to talk about respectability politics anymore. Like we act like that shit doesn't exist anymore, but we do
I think
these
certain
little
people
things.
like to talk about it a lot still. I don't think it's.
Really?
I think like the Candace Owenses of the world, like that is
But
still
those are bad faith actors though. I'm talking about like in
okay.
a genuine, like, let's have a conversation about how
You,
we are
you don't
maneuvering.
think some of the older generation still operates like I think of like the church adjacent generation still
Yeah.
operates with like they'll pull your pants up. Like my
Yeah, well,
for yeah, for
go
example,
ahead.
my mom like this pat I saw her like a month ago and my wallet is simply pink, you know what I mean? And this isn't a perfect thing, but I think it illustrates my point. But she saw me pull out my pink wallet and she's like, I'm going to get you a new one. You know what I mean? So
You're not wrong.
I think that kind of thing of like, you still need to fit into this narrow kind
Yeah.
of what is the word we're talking about?
I got
Respectability politics bubble.
I got some crop tops, like I got the sleeves cut off of them or whatever. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom was like, oh, I don't understand why you want to look like a bum. You know what I mean? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like not even to be like I wear the crop top as stylish. I'm like, no, I just like the comfortability of the shirt. Like it's not even it's not a fashion statement. I'll wear it outside, but it's because I like the shirt. Like it's comfortable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she's like, why would you want to look like that? I'm like, it's like you were, like you said, you're still like it's operating in this narrow view of what is respectable or whatever. But to that same point, they also didn't articulate it well. Like they didn't like properly articulate why they felt that way. It was just like, oh, well, you just don't do that because like niggas is like that. You not like that. And it's like, well, why do you feel like me appearing that way means so much about my character?
For
As
sure.
you are my parent, like you know me and how you're raising me, it don't matter what I look like. You know what I mean? Or it shouldn't matter what I look like, but it does in the sense that, like what our parents were telling us, like pull your pants up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you got to walk around, get it. Your hair got to be clean. You know what I mean? You got to have all these things in order. But I do think like without proper articulation, that shit is extremely problematic. The same way we're sitting here talking about it now. It's like, well, we can look back on it and be like, well, that wasn't really cool, or like that was a little problematic, but that's because they didn't articulate. And in all honesty, there's no real way to articulate that isn't problematic. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like that, but also it just wasn't properly articulated. Even the understanding, we didn't. I never really understood why until I was older and old enough to understand for myself.
For
And so
sure.
like it was never like properly explained to me. And I feel like that makes a huge difference. And with the quarter zip thing, I think that's what's happening. I think a lot of youth are seeing it like as this like true step into the direction of being mature. But like I get the look is more clean cut for sure. But like that has nothing to do with maturity or capability or personality at all. Like don't let yourself feed into respectability politics to the point where people are now allowed to disrespect people who don't look like you, because that's how you become one of the good ones. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For
Like
sure.
you
Is
don't
trying
want
to
to be
distinguish yourself as better than the other people. Yeah.
exactly.
I think I feel similarly in terms of I'm comfortable with the idea. Maybe I'm more comfortable maybe with the idea of being like these clothes are a signifier of us like leveling up in terms of like the way we conduct ourselves and just being more mature, being a signifier of adulthood. I think where I have friction with it is being like, is being more mature slash adult less specifically about respectability? I guess these are related, but is it more because this is like white adjacent slash appealing to the white gaze, or is it more because we just think these make us look nice? You know what I mean?
I would say kind of to what we were saying about the internet and regionality, like, and how the internet has kind of like destroyed that line of separation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no matter what, if it looks white adjacent, it is white adjacent on a platform that big. So like there is no separation from the white culture that it's exposed to and eventually gets swirled into. Cause like, for example, if you see a nigga who look like a YM, you don't dissociate him from your perspective of whatever that represents, whether it be blackness or whatever, like, because you don't have the immediate access to that person, that doesn't change that you still don't make the distinction of like the characteristics that may exist or not exist within the appearance or whatever you assume that to be. And that's because the internet, like, I don't see you in isolation. I see you amongst the wide range that I see in the internet. And there's a bunch of people who look like you. And then I associate that look with whatever those characteristics of those people may be, like rappers, basketball players, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And so it's like, there is no separation in regards to like, oh, is it white adjacent? Do it look white? In your mind, does it look white? But then it's white adjacent. Yeah. And that could also be a personal thing. And if the intentions of that youth or whoever is doing it, the transition isn't to be white adjacent, they have to, in my personal opinion, because of the optics, they need to articulate that, because people will just take a clip of something and like a snapshot of something and internalize it without properly articulating to themselves what they're internalizing. And that's because people don't want to do that work. So fucking tell them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you don't know, acknowledge that you may not know. So when somebody calls you on it, don't be vehemently defending your action because you didn't understand the optics of what you were doing. And that's okay too. You know what I mean? I feel like we have to give space for people to be ignorant to this shit, because also, as an older nigga, I could be looking into it way too deep. Young niggas may not give a fuck what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like they 20, 19, 18, yeah. Like what? I don't give a fuck what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And maybe with that being said, that is my unk status showing. And like now I am overdoing it and overthinking it too much, and it don't mean nothing to them. But I also feel like optically, or I guess I can't say that, the narrative behind back to what we're saying, is maturity, is all of these things. So like I would hope that it does mean something to them, and that with that maturity comes more self-exploration and introspection, and then like just more like act like seeking for knowledge and information. You know what I mean? Like somebody like, I'm in the courtesan movement, right? I used to be a young nigga with a shiesty yesterday. Now I'm trying to be more mature. Somebody comes to me and just simply says to me, like, do you know anything about respectability politics? Because what you're doing is very adjacent to that. I want to be more mature, right? Don't know what they're talking about. I would hope that in line with that movement, I would go research the information. I wouldn't just take that at face value and be like, oh, I didn't know what they're talking about. I'm in the courtesan now. Let me go research like a courtesan nigga. You know what I mean? Like I would hope that comes with that maturity, but it probably doesn't, because a lot of people, adults, like grown adults, don't do that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, and it's also complicated when it comes to it being a thing of like youth trying to like claim an identity. You know what I mean? And if you're like young and claiming identity, and someone's telling you an identity you think you've just created has like a historical context, that is like always true, but also probably not the type of shit you can process at 19. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like, in all honesty, like I respect it. Like I was just telling myself like a couple months ago that I want to like revolutionize my style and I want to get more quarter zippy. You know what I mean? So I respect the
look. I was that's why it's moving, because I look at it, I'm like, I think all of us have had the moment where like, I think I would look good in the quarters. I think I could pull it off.
I ain't gonna lie, my first time trying on the cardigan over a button up, I was like, a nigga low key sexy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I could wear like this. You know what I mean? So it's like,
if I could afford to wear nice knitted overshirts at all times, I would, but You know, I'm not at a quarter zip. Like I said earlier, I'm not at a quarter zip level financially.
When do you think Balenciaga and Louis Vuitton starts preying on the youth, though?
When?
Yeah, when do you think it
Nick,
happens?
10 years ago. What do you mean when?
No, no, I mean like in this new trend, like the quarter zip trend. When do
Oh,
you
you
think the
think?
designer brands hop on like the Balenciaga quarter zips? When do you think that happens?
I'm sure. I don't know because it's with the way fashion works. How I understand it is like you can't you can't you can't go into production on quarter zips right now. Fashion cycles are too quickly. You know what I mean? You have to essentially create what the fashion is because if you're chasing what the fashion is, you'll always be late. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
because fashion is basically the impetus for fashion moving the way it does is people always trying to find the new style. So if something's the new style and you're copying it, then you're hustling backwards.
So how do we feel? That kind of leads me into the Pharrell space, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
into what Pharrell was saying about, I guess to preface it for people who don't know, Pharrell was recently in he was doing a panel at a convention he was hosting for a program he hosts for a DEI initiative program that he hosts or that he supports or has founded. I'm not sure how to phrase it, but he was at a panel speaking to the people, the recipients of the grants that he was giving out, telling them that like essentially that like diversity is kind of out of the picture. Equity is out of the picture and inclusion is out of the picture. So all you have left is to be best because you don't want to be hired because you're black. And the context of what he said, and in the context of what he said, is perfectly fine. But I also think it's a huge lack of self awareness, considering for all intents and purposes, he is a DEI hire at Louis Vuitton.
Sure.
Whether that be whether that need be because they needed a rapper or another hip hop nigga, whatever it is, his credentials that got him in there would definitely face value. And I'm not gonna take away from the fact that the nigga got in there and did work and that he wasn't already doing work in the fashion world prior to that. But like, let's not act like he didn't get in there because Virgil was gone and they needed another Virgil. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want to take nothing from Pharrell in that space, but I do feel like that has to be accounted for. You know what I mean? Because in the sense that like what he's speaking to those people in the context of the space that he's speaking into, like it's a DEI initiative program that he's funding. So clearly he's not unaware, you know what I mean? And clearly he's not unaware of the disparities in these issues and how to like that they need to be addressed. But going back to what I said about optics, I feel like optics is starting to matter a lot more than context because everybody sees everything before they understand it. So sometimes you got to get ahead of that, you know what I mean? And sometimes optics matter more than the actual context of what you're doing. And in this particular case, it kind of does, considering that nobody really spoke to the context of what he was talking about or where he was at when he was saying it, because they don't catch headlines. You know what I mean? Like, that don't catch clicks. But personally, when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of wild. But in hearing his response,
can I also add?
Hmm?
I think one of the things he said that was also people took note of is he says, I don't like politics,
Yeah,
because if you anytime you choose a side politically, you're supporting
division.
division. So he also
Yeah,
said that, which I think for me initially was like more of the eye catching quote.
yeah. It didn't catch my eye because that's what all rich niggas say. Like
Yeah,
they don't have to get involved in politics because they rich niggas. They don't operate on our level. You know what I mean? So like if a city something they don't like, they fucking can leave the state. You know what I mean? That's why every rapper got a home in Austin, you know what I mean, or a home in Texas because tax laws are different. And so like, you know what I mean? Like it don't
yeah.
affect them. You know what I mean? So it's like, but when he
It
said
wasn't
that though,
surprising for sure, but it definitely is what in the headline caught my eye initially.
I think too, like back to optics, I think that niggas in positions like that have to be in like you can't be running a DEI program and not be aware of the optics or the like how what you say is going to be received. Like you have to be very intentional about how you articulate yourself, and I don't think that he owes that into anybody. But like, if you if you don't want people to respond this way and truly understand what you're saying, you got to articulate it the proper way. And I feel like
I think, but to what you're saying, when you're, this, from what I understand, this program was moving large millions of dollars.
85,
Yeah.
85 million.
So my perception of that was like anytime you're running a thing in this country and you need lots of money, ideally you're apolitical in the way you approach things because you need money from both sides, ultimately. And if you can siphon money from more right-leaning PACs and things like that for ultimately DEI type of initiatives, then that's a win. And I think part of that might be being like trying to come off as apolitical as possible. Because if you go, you know, what I think, people wish he said was like, there's issues on both sides, but like obviously the left is better. Like that's obviously he would never say that, but that's what the internet would have liked him to say. You know what I mean? But you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like he can't. You're muted for whatever reason.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, you're back now. You're back now. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that I think what you're saying about as far as the politics, I don't think that there was there like you're right that that's what people wanted him to say, but I don't think there was another like we couldn't expect him to say anything else. You know what I mean? Because like you were saying, with ain't no telling where the money's coming from with those grants for the program. They might be coming from both sides, so he has to remain apolitical. And I think that everybody who like is putting a stance on that, I feel like we have to stop being disingenuous, like in our way when we call people in. Like I feel like we do that shit disingenuously when we know, like our reality, that shit ain't that big a deal to call him in. You know what I mean? Like there's other things that
and what you spoke on and what other people spoke on in terms of him being like aware of how that was perceived. Like if you saw the video that came out of it, it was clearly someone like taking a video like on the low. Like it wasn't you know what I mean? So he also was probably thinking this is just for this room, and it's ultimately probably naive to think that in 2025, but I give him a pass on being like he was at this conference for a thing he's doing. He thought he was just speaking to this room. I think that's fair.
I also think too, in the space like Black people real talk. You know what I mean? I feel like what he was saying to them, if he's in the room and these people have got through his program and are about to receive the grants and receive the money from the program, and he's telling them like, look, y'all got to be the best. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he just, from my perspective,
it sounded real. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just having real talk with him. You know what I mean? And so, but to what you're saying about somebody recording on the low, yeah, I think that is naive to expect. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's naive because I would trust people. I'm in a room helping you get on. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, why would you expect somebody to do that? You know what I mean? But I also feel like the particular clip, I think that maybe he was already in a role on the rant, and they felt some type of way about it. They were like, "This nigga wildin', so I'm gonna show everybody else that this nigga wildin'." So, but in my personal opinion, the only thing, it's optics, man. I think that too many people saw what he said and don't understand what he was trying to say, and he didn't say what he was trying. He didn't just say what he was trying to say. He said what he said. I think that we need to start saying what we're trying to say and be very intentional about the words that we choose and make sure we are saying exactly what we're trying to say, so there is no space to twist our words. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand that that's not extremely simple and it's very like nuanced and sometimes difficult and tedious, but I just think we got to do it. You know what I mean? You can't be a multi-millionaire and your face be known in almost every home in America and you not be intentional about how you talk when America's watching.
Well, I think to what I was saying. I think that is the intention of being like, I am the face of a multi-million-dollar corporation. I have all these employees. And we're in this moment politically where things are extra. Like if I say something negative about the president, like there could be consequences tomorrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think the intention in this political moment is to come across as hands off, talking about what the actual thing is while talking around it. If that makes sense.
Do you think that we need to stop that though? Do we think we need to hold our celebrities and stuff more accountable? Though my personal opinion is we shouldn't look for our celebrities to be leaders. They're celebrities. They're not. They're not.
He would like ultimately, and it might be like reductive of the whole issue, but like ultimately what I like landed on not really having too hot of a feeling on it, because at the end of the day, he's at a conference for a DEI initiative. He's at least helping put like $85 million into. So if we're looking at actions versus words, I typically find actions to be more important. The action there, crazy good. I wish every celebrity was doing that, you know. And I'm not gonna be like, hey, at this thing you were doing, that's like a 10 on good for your community and like lifting up black people, but you said some things that weren't totally succinct and like you weren't James Baldwin on the day. You know what I mean? I'm ultimately gonna be like, yeah, guys. I think then he was still net positive 1,000 that day for like helping black people.
No, definitely. I
But I
think
do
that
think, sorry.
no, I think that like I'm right there with you where I didn't really feel I don't know, I didn't really land too much either which way other than that optics matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to be a lot more like even with everything, man. The social media era has made optics so much more important than ever before because like people see before they think.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
I
but
don't know, man. We gotta be.
it's also hard to communicate like earnestly, like in the way you were talking, like we were talking about. It felt like he was being real with those people. Like I felt like he was trying to be like, listen, I'm gonna give y'all this money, but I'm gonna let y'all know it's tough. Like y'all gotta work your ass off. Like I'm not fucking with, like I love you know what I mean, like a loving speech in that way. So it's like in a world where every one sentence you say from like an entire however long monologue can be cut into something else, how could you possibly, you know what I mean, be real in that world? You know, like in a world where like every single, you have to be a politician, and we hate the way politicians talk, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I think, man, I think like I don't know, man. I'm starting to be disappointed in the like the heroes of hip hop, like
Okay.
because like
Oh yeah. Right now. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm starting to be very disappointed in my heroes of hip hop because Jay-Z is nothing but a black capitalist, and that the realization and acceptance of that kind of hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, bro, I really thought not to say that he's not good for the black community because there are people who need it, who get inspiration from black capitalism, and more power to him. You know what I mean? But like
Mhm.
he starts to give me the Michael Jordan, I don't take pictures with niggas vibes. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to get that vibe. And so,
Yeah, I
but at
think.
the same time,
No, go
go
for it.
ahead.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
Now I say at the same time, like we were saying with Pharrell, you know, he's doing black shit. You know what I mean? So it's like can't really can't really take nothing from him. But it's like it don't feel black for some reason.
Well, what I was gonna say, the issue or like the discomfort or whatever I still find with the Pharrell situation in its entirety is kind of what you were saying about him being the DEI hire at Louis Vuitton, and almost this idea where I like talked to you a little bit before about like, do we own Sprite or does Sprite own us? Like, I'm not. You can't even extend that to those fashion labels because they own us for sure. Because in terms of what Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, all these Hermes brands that like rappers, I won't say single-handedly, but more than anyone else have given
They go
cultural
ahead.
cachet. Yeah, have single-handedly given cultural cachet versus what have they done for us? It's nothing. It's
Do you so I watched the Diddy doc. Do you think that started with Sean John? I personally think that designer took over the black community when Sean John dropped.
what about Tommy Hilfiger was before that, right? Because Tommy
Uh,
Hilfiger's whole idea was my shit's not popping. I'm gonna throw it on rappers. Now it's cool.
but so I don't. Was he before that?
I think I'll look, but you can keep going. I think
I
because Sean
I
John
personally
was like 2000s in my head, but maybe
no.
it's not.
Yeah, it was no, it was popular in the 2000s. I think it dropped in 99 though, from what I saw in the documentary. I think it dropped in 99.
Okay.
He was already kind of well into his career, you know what I mean? He was already
Yeah,
turning into
Sean
Puff.
Sean John was 98.
Okay. Tommy
And
Hilfiger probably 80 something, probably 83.
85.
I was close. I was
Yeah.
close. I know my goddamn history, my fashion history for sure.
But it's not. I'm not actually sure when they started buying niggas.
I
Oh,
think maybe
1990s actually. It says it. 1990s gained massive popularity with hip hop. So it was probably technically Tommy Hilfiger, but Sean John was definitely the first black person
black
to be. Yeah.
first black one. But I feel like I don't know. My mom was telling me that like growing up in the 80s, they were super brand heavy. Like it was all
Mm.
about the labels. It was all about the brand that you had on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I don't know.
No, there's ones
I don't
before
know.
then we're not up on, but that I've definitely heard, and well, like
I think Kango was supposed to be
I
like
was gonna
designer.
say, I don't know when was like Fat Farm and Coogee. Coogee was probably
That's
earlier.
not it. Yeah, nah. Coogee to this day is I still wear a Coogee
Coogee
sweater. We
never
not
fell
gonna
off. Coogee never fell
yeah,
off.
ever,
Okay, yeah,
ever
no, no one's saying that here.
fire to this day though. I feel like I feel like Supreme stole almost all their swag from Coogee.
Supreme.
Except for like
Mm,
colorways and stuff. Like they didn't really go colorway crazy like Coogee did.
nah, yeah, Supreme stole their shit from like a lot of people. Actually, it's like well documented, but that's kind of the
Yes.
nature of fashion, creativity in America. Um, period.
That's a
Or
multi-layered joke right there. That's a multi-layered joke.
it's a multi-layered joke.
Because stealing something is American culture. Supreme is no. There's nothing more American fashion-wise than Supreme, and
I'm
they
not.
stole everything.
I'm not gonna make a Supreme joke. What kind of?
I mean, it's you know what
I
I
don't.
mean?
In order to like include a thing in a joke, I have to think my mom knows what it is because ultimately you know what I mean. You're trying to talk about stuff that's broad because if someone doesn't know what you're talking about, you're not gonna. It's not gonna crack. So I think Supreme's a little nuanced to do a joke about, but respect.
I mean, you know your audience. You know your audience.
If I was playing to my audience, I would just do jokes about astrology, but
You would never miss. You would
but
never
I
miss.
don't. Nah, I was like, but I'll never do that. And then a second thought was like, I got to do that.
You
So
should throw more astrology
the
jokes in there.
astrology jokes are coming. Do you want to talk about All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so my thesis is without, and I want to be careful not to uh, have this argument because Mariah Carey is mixed. This is not about her being mixed and thus her art is like has to be we have to have a custody battle, white people and black people over it. That's not the energy I'm trying to put out there. I think it is undeniable that there are certain things that are in like the black cultural canon and the white cultural canon. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And I feel Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, in my mind, because of how popular it is, I've truly always thought about it in the white cultural canon. But
Wow.
I know, I think I might get fried for this. And whatever. But I was listening to a Black Christmas playlist, and it came on, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess this is us. Um,
Yeah, I guess you got no. Oh yeah, this is
you
black.
can't deny it's been so It's like it's like the Christmas song. It's like undeniably the Christmas song.
It has been co-opted, but I also feel like Mariah herself has always in her career had to face and address the fact that she was mixed to the
Mm.
point where one of her albums is arguably like just her full delve into blackness, and she tried. You know what I mean? And I feel like she didn't ever like you say. I feel like she's always kind of been in the like middle ground of the cultural canons because it's like
But do you know she also has an unreleased punk album?
yeah, I heard about that. I heard
Okay.
about that.
So in a way, you could argue that's delving into the other side.
Yeah, this is fair. This is fair. But also, she did beef with, and that's one of the blackest things you can do.
It is. It is. Is it?
It is.
If we look at the history of everyone who Eminem is beefed with, it's
He
generally not,
he
hmm?
pick on mixed skin. He picks on mixed people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's not particularly a black experience. It's a very Dominican and mixed experience. I don't know, but what is Benzino?
I don't know whatever
Yeah.
color right.
Yeah, so whatever he is in mixed experience. So I mean, so you feel like it's definitely a part of black culture?
Only because like the first time I ever heard it like played in frequency was in Black Homes and Black Christmases.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm black, so like I don't know, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if you would know either, but like I don't know any white spaces that were playing it. You know what I mean? Growing up, and so it has always been like it's like the Black birthday song. You know what I mean? The Black Happy Birthday. It's something that, like you like. It's always been there. You know what I mean? And it's always been in the sphere. Like you don't really question it. It's just kind of there. You know what I mean? And Mariah Carey's "All I Want for You," her whole Christmas album, low key, has always kind of just. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I felt like the rest of her album. I mean, the rest of her music. I've always thought was Black culture and like us. But yeah, it's just something about the, and it is.
You
Is Christmas white?
Is Christmas a white holiday to you? Is that why you can't? Is that why you? What's going on, Creme? Talk to me.
I've never been more offended over anything you've said to me during Christmas too. God damn. No, I don't know. Maybe it's my media diet, or maybe it's my. I don't know. It just. I guess it begs the question. Not begs the question. It comes to the thing of. I mean, and we'll get to Kendrick, but like once you get to a point in popularity, you can become.
You have to have white fans.
You have to have a lot, and it's like we talked about with Cardi. You have to have a lot of white fans. So it's like, do you feel like Playboy Cardi's Whole Lotta Red, is that more white culture or Black culture? Because if we can be real, it's clearly one answer.
I would say more white culture.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I definitely say he tried to lean into his white fans on that one. You know what I mean?
And it's not a bad thing, but it's like you have to acknowledge what community that has become more impactful to.
Music. I Am Music, his last album. I feel that's very.
I think it's definitely more Black, but I don't know if I feel like. I don't know. I don't know where it fits. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely like, it's definitely more of an ode to Atlanta. Like you have the Swamp Izzo drops, you have the Future, you have. Yeah, I think it's definitely more of a nod to like Atlanta and like the Black roots of stuff he grew up on.
I feel like Mojo Jojo is what makes it a Black ass album.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the Kendrick of it all, definitely. Well, the Kendrick of it all actually dilutes even more if we're going to be real.
Yeah, talking about. I don't know. Kendrick bias, and I think Kendrick is mid. So, like, does he have?
This isn't a conversation, and I'm almost never with you trying to have a conversation about the quality of Kendrick's music, because I know where we will land wholeheartedly. And I'll briefly just intro the idea I had. I was talking to someone this week, and I was trying to explain to them, basically from this Mariah Carey conversation, like, it feels to me that Kendrick, I see more white people really excited about Kendrick's music than I see Black people really excited about Kendrick's music. I know, of all the Black people I know, earnestly one nigga who's like, Kendrick's my like main, like my guy. But of white people, I know quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. And of course, that's generally anecdotal. But even if you look online at like the Anthony Fantanos and like white music criticism sphere, they're all nuts over Kendrick.
How you feel about Fantano?
Fantano's got the pass from enough people I like that he's cool with me. You know what I mean? Enough,
same here.
Yeah, enough. Like Sig and him talk sometimes. There's other creators I like that have him on, and ultimately, I don't feel like he does any. I guess there's a video of him saying "nigga" one time, but I haven't even watched that because I don't care. Sorry, you got muted again.
I think he's harmless.
Yeah, I think he's harmless. I think he, as someone who likes music, I'm not like his music opinions matter to me, but if he's like, this is a really good project, I'll probably be more likely to check it out.
Yeah, it's true. But to the Kendrick having white fans conversation, I think I've said for a long time, that oh wait, before I say it, you know who don't have these problems?
Absol?
There you go. I had to say Absol and Mick Jenkins do not have these problems.
I mean, by having these problems, do you mean having lots of fans?
No, by having have to debate between are their fans mostly white or black, because we know where they fall on this. We fall on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if my argument is necessarily that more of his fans are white or black, more so that like the idea that I think white people are more excited about him, if that
Oh yeah, no,
makes sense.
like it depends. Like that's that. I feel
Well, I
like
guess
Kendrick.
more specifically, I'm sorry. I think more specifically is like I know a lot of white people whose favorite, or I think the best album is To Pimp a Butterfly. I don't really know that many niggas who listen to Pimp a Butterfly.
I stand by that. To Pimp a Butterfly is just a little too preachy for me. Like
That's
it's a good album.
that's exactly what I said to this white person I was talking to, and it's like, so how does that exist? That's like the core of what I'm trying to get to. How does like a very black, like that is a blackety black album technically?
Because we've heard it before.
Yeah,
He's not saying that's due to us. Like our right is for us as an anthem. Humble is to white people.
yeah.
Like we don't need humble. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't need to hear those tracks. Like the people who needed to hear those tracks are the people that needed to hear those tracks. And like some people have the self-awareness to like understand that when they listen to those tracks, they are genuinely being exposed to a different perspective or a different approach to things that they've never been exposed to before, probably due to their lack of proximity to blackness and blackness like Kendrick's. But they need to hear that. That's why they get excited about it. Because it's like, you know how the people be like, it's not our job to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick's albums are like lesson plans.
Here, let me teach. It's Khan Academy for white people.
Shit, you know what I mean? So it's like he ain't even his doing. It's just the quality of his music or like the content of his music. And I feel like I do as mid as Kendrick is, I will give credit to the fact that the content of his music does speak to people on a more profound level most of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think to what you're saying about people being excited for, I think the profoundness hits deeper when you have never heard it before. He ain't said nothing that I've never heard a nigga say before. And not even to be like that takes away from his lyrics. Like the nigga can rap his ass off, right? But like I ain't never heard nobody say it like he did in the song, but he ain't never gave me no idea or concept or nothing that I didn't already be exposed to via blackness.
Yeah,
and I think that
if you grew up with like OGs around you, or even Hotep niggas around you, or people in the church around you, or just like your own grandma, he's kind of instilling that wisdom into songs.
Into white folks.
Yeah.
I think to what you're saying about his fans, be like the excitement of it. That's it. Like it's like, oh, I'm about to learn. It's pop quiz today. You know what I mean? Like they're like pop quiz. Like that's how they feel about it. It's like, oh yeah,
quiz music.
It is. It's pop. Oh shit, Kendrick got today. What's the lesson plan for the summer? That's how they. From my experience, because like I've heard my favorite Kendrick album is easily Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and I have also never heard that sentiment echoed by a nigga. But so many white people that I say that to are like, yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I'm like, when I hear that,
to me, that's sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
When I hear that, I'm like, what do you like about Rich Spirit? The entire chorus is rich nigga broke phone. What do you resonate with there? You know what I mean? Like, why is this your favorite album? But like, it's a lesson plan. It's a lesson plan in blackness for him. So I step back and be like, all right, learn what you here to learn. I'm not learning nothing. I just enjoy the music. So like, you learn your lessons. You know what I mean? I already passed the test.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
And that's what I think. Go ahead.
And I think where I didn't like Mr. Morale was like it didn't feel preachy to me, but it felt respectability politicsy to me. Like when you're calling yourself the savior of, even though you're doing it to take yourself down, but there's still like a acknowledgement that there's still an acceptance of that, I think, on some level. And he's fighting with that, and it's fine, and it makes for captivating music for a lot of people. But, and it's like, you know, when it comes from like your and I perspective, it's like, nigga, I've never considered you the savior, so you're fighting off an expectation that for me was never.
You fight, but we ain't put that on you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, like, I find Damn and even G and X to be like better listens because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, these are like just some cool rap songs, and I can even like. We're
I
gonna
don't
talk
know.
about Kendrick every time, even though neither of us is particularly a fan of Kendrick. We will find a way to speak about him on every episode.
Say at least one time when people are listening, Kendrick is mid. I
Yeah,
just need
no,
y'all to
for sure.
understand. So I will say though, I will argue. I don't know if I say my favorite album is Mr. Morale and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I think his best album is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, but my favorite album so far is GNX.
Okay.
Favorite album so far out of
Yeah,
his catalog.
where I landed ultimately too was it being less about Kendrick and more being about, for me, the reason he's not one of my favorites is like I'm not listening to music generally to like learn or like feel like. Say that again.
I got a question for you. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead,
Yeah.
finish your thought.
Well, it's like, yeah, when I think about GNX, like the song where he like raps from the perspective of like Billie Holiday and whoever else, really cool song conceptually. When I listened the first time, I'm like, awesome, but I don't want to listen to that. You know, like I don't want to listen to like a 4 minute like tall tale. That's like I mean, and again, not to put it down at all, but just like I listen to music more as like, okay, I want to get into a certain mood, and these songs put me into a certain mood, and like a song that's like and I'm sure it works differently for some people, but a song that's like a long narrative isn't really gonna like put me into a mood as much as it's gonna be making me like think of whatever you're talking about and trying to, which again, some people like music for. I'm not anti-intellectual at all. Like I like learning and thinking about things, but 3 of my top 5 rappers are Future, Young Thug, and Gunna because I'm trying to get a feeling. I'm trying to catch a vibe when I'm listening to music.
So I have an interesting perspective. Do you think Kendrick is a cultural appropriating on GNX? The fact that you had to think about it, you know there's something to.
No, I was thinking about, do you mean this in earnest, or are you being because
You know I do though.
nah, I mean, I don't see how like a West Coast rapper who was given literally the torch from all the other West Coast rappers, how you can be considered culturally appropriating West Coast. How, you know what I mean? Like, how could he be appropriating West Coast rap when he's been like the top West Coast rapper for a decade and like the OGs all respect him in the game?
He's never leaned into it. He's never leaned into it like he did on GNX. And I feel like we have to speak to that. We have to speak to the fact he ain't never leaned it, bro. No. We're not gonna act like Kendrick has ever sounded like he's ever like he does on GNX. He's never sounded like that
Sure,
on any track
but that
ever.
doesn't.
He's
So you're not allowed to change sounds,
no, you are, but like,
and you're
so
not allowed to change sounds to a sound that's the sound of your home. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna switch it up. Let me.
not after doing it. So what? So wait. I feel like if Drake's a cultural appropriator, then so is Kendrick.
No, because Kendrick never was like, hey y'all, I'm from the islands now, real Kendrick Lamar ting. Like that wasn't the arrow he never got. Kendrick
Not in
doesn't
the
change
same-
his hair every 4 years. He's not from.
Maybe not in the same way, but I feel like there's something there. I feel like you can't lean into gangster culture at the end of your career. You can't just suddenly be
at the end. What the Good Kid, Mad City is about gang activities. That's what the album's about. The song Mad City is about gang activities. And it's a West Coast song. What's the second half of Mad City? Wake your punk ass up. Ain't nothing but a Compton thing. Done. Fresh out of school. Because like, that's West Coast AF. Like that is, he was paying homage to MC8. MC8's on the track.
I hear what you're saying. But I don't.
You were trying. You tried. No, like I get what you're saying in that. No, I can't go. I'm trying. There's no backbone to it. But you're my dog.
Look, man. Hey, man. GNX. Hey, man. That's appropriating West Coast gang culture. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, nah. I mean, you got all these rappers.
Talk about on the dead guys, nigga. I ain't going. Like Kendrick, we never wanted that from you. We never wanted that from you.
It's a really ahistorical take as someone who I know has listened to Kendrick for a while to say that like this is the first time he's ever done West Coast sounding songs.
I think so. I think so. Also, I have for a while, but I ain't never. Maybe I am just a hater. Maybe
yeah,
I
for
am.
sure, for sure. It's cool. Like again, I'm not his biggest fan, but you gotta give some credible arguments. I when you launch it, I'm like, this is kind of a take. And I'm like, nah. But do you want to hit one more topic or what? All I got left is Boss Man D-Lo.
The very week in history for sure, but I think we got to speak to the fact that my man has bounced back so silently from the gay allegations.
Okay, so you gotta, for those people who don't know, Boss Man D-Lo is a rapper. Where's Boss Man D-Lo from?
I want to say Detroit.
I can look. I always thought it was the South. He was but I guess the music is Detroit because of the bum 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 bum. Boss Man. But yeah, Boss Man D-Lo rap. Tallahassee. So either Florida or Tennessee. Florida. He's from Florida.
Florida, Tallahassee.
Oh, that makes sense because he was at the Magic game. I should have known that. Boss Man D-Lo.
When he caught the ball.
Yeah. Boss Man D-Lo, rapper from Florida, had a handful of pretty viral songs on TikTok 2 years ago, I think, at this point. Let's put out something. You listen to Boss Man D-Lo?
Not actively, but when he come on, I want to turn him off.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, when he was hot, it was hot for sure. But I don't come back to it. I forgot who he was, but so I'll say so it pretty much went viral. He went viral a couple days ago because it was captured. It was all in this span of 24 hours. It was captured where in the morning it seemed like he caught a shark. He was on someone's Instagram catching a shark. By the afternoon, a sex worker was, I don't want to say putting him on blast, but
it was hilarious. I'll put you to sleep too.
Yeah, it was. She cut a promo for her business, using him being dead asleep on the couch as an example of the time the service.
He had her luggage ready to go.
Yeah, brother. The thing, you saw the picture of him. Have you seen it? Brother man, that was great. That was a great ad because I'm like, you've been there where you was asleep butt naked on a couch somewhere. It made me think. It made me miss being young. I'll say that. Cause
so funny. It wasn't that he was on the couch, it's that he was ass naked.
He was ass naked on the couch.
Whatever she did to him happened on the couch right there where he fell asleep. So that nigga it happened and then he went straight dead. Like he didn't even bother to get up, put a towel on, clean or nothing. That nigga was asleep ass naked on the couch. Like
we could all hope to be so lucky has to get some.
But it's great. That's also great advertisement to beat the gay allegations.
We'll get to that after I get to the last one. So around mid-afternoon, he gets put on this sex worker's promo she cut for herself. Nighttime comes around. The Orlando Magic have a game against the San Antonio Spurs. The game ends on a buzzer-beating block. The ball gets blocked into Boss Man D-Lo's hands. He catches it, palms that motherfucker. Great picture. So he a fire day. And now what have you got to say about his fire day? Because I hadn't heard this.
So he the fire day is legendary. But I also think that the fact that you've never heard about it speaks to how silently he bounced back. So apparently there is this guy out there, I think his name is Frank Handsome or something like that, but he's a male escort. And apparently D-Lo was reaching out to him, trying to link or whatever, you know what I mean? And then like there's supposedly screenshots and blah, 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 all that. But the dude came out and said that that D-Lo was messaging a real girl. He thought like it wasn't really him, that he faked the photos. You know what I mean? Like they wasn't his photos. And people were like, he's like, people are like, oh, that check cleared and da da da. But the response that he made was very quick. He did that. He came out 2 days later after the shit went viral and was like, I didn't say that. But also that don't stop the allegations. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't go anywhere because the man and tried to clear his name. Like everybody was like, oh, they're all right, nigga. You know what I mean? They hit him with that one. But I also think that like the bounce back is legendary because nobody has ever really truly recovered from that. Like in the sense where their career didn't take a massive hit. His career took.
Everybody's got the gay allegations at one point. They put the gay allegations on a lot of niggas. Xaii.
Where it looks like it's found, like the evidence is real.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like who has been evidence and like screenshots and like, you know what I mean? Like who?
Yeah, no, I
don't.
I started trying to think about it. I'm like, I don't want to think about this. So I'm like,
Young Buck got taken down by it. So did Jazzy Faye. Jazzy Faye was known to date trans women, and he got blackballed immediately. And then Young Buck had a trans girlfriend down in I can't remember where that was, but then he got dropped at a G unit shortly afterwards. And then he was vehemently denying it, except for there were like literal pictures of him at the club with the woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I ain't never, ever. But like we also ain't never heard from that nigga since. Not to be like when it happened that we was hearing from Young Buck. Like,
it might have sped up the process.
He definitely disappeared more so after that. And Jazzy Faye is somebody I think that would like. His disappearance was kind of sad for hip hop because he was kind of monumental for like a lot of up and coming artists like Sierra. He did a lot of good work with her. Missy Elliott, he got a lot of good songs with her. She wasn't up and coming when they worked together, but he did a lot of good work with them and a lot of good work with other up and coming artists. Well, yes, D-Lo has bounced back. Amazing Day, Escort put him to sleep, caught the ball with a bad bitch. There's like that's the ultimate bounce back.
Yeah,
there's no better advertising to be like, I ain't gay.
Yeah, do you think... well, since you said that, now I'm like, this seems like a psyop. This don't seem like it was set up to you. He was like... He probably didn't even get none that day. He probably just fell asleep. Like, take a video of me on your way out. Clear this whole shit up. He got a good manager. That's what that looked like to me.
A psyop is crazy. But... maybe because a lot of people don't know. You know what I mean? You gotta clean up the dust and then sweep what's left under the rug. You know what I mean? You gotta do
man. They were getting jokes off. I just put together that his name's D-Lo, so they were probably...
Yeah. Now we call D-Lo.
That's tough. It's hard to face the gay allegations while being named D-Lo. That's crazy.
I'm saying the fact that it flew so far under the radar, I'm like, I don't know what he did, but the man is legendary. We got to give him his props.
That would be like a Boondocks level skit for it to come out that you were on the DL named Boss Man D-Lo. Like that's.
Do you think, like, not even to get off on another tangent, but what do you feel about? Because I was thinking about this the other day. What do you feel about like the lost files of Black media? And what do you feel like is in them?
What is that?
So, like, you know how, like, there's all of these, like, lost media, like, lost files of stuff that's on YouTube that you can't find no more. Sure. But I feel like Black culture also has those things. And there are things that, like, that don't hold any, like, you can still find them, but they don't hold any, like, presence or relevance for the impact that they had. And it's like they're almost like fever dreams. I feel like the Boondocks is like that. It's like one of those things where you had to be there to you know what I mean? Like, to feel it. You had to be there at the time. But, it, like, I don't know. I don't feel like, I mean, I don't know. The whole Riley thing with Baby Chief do, it makes me think maybe it's still there. But like, I don't feel no presence of like movies like or shows like that. Like I haven't heard a Friday reference in forever. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that like I just feel like we don't like fucking Don't Be a Menace to Society in South Central LA or some shit like that. The Wayans brothers parody of Don't Be a Menace or Menace to Society. Like that shit's gone. Like who talks about it? You know what I mean? Or like
do you just feel like that stuff's losing cultural relevance, or we're just
when I was growing up, that shit like Don't Be a Menace had an impact, bro. Like we like kids, we used to quote that movie. You know what I mean? Like they used to be thinking quote that movie on like going outside to play and shit. Like everybody wanted to have the crazy, not wanted to have the crazy hair, but we always made references to his crazy ass hair with the fucking pacifier in his mouth in the movie. You know what
I mean, this
So
is gonna get back to what I was talking about when it comes to music, where it's like I don't know how much this is nostalgia or like an earnest look at culture now, but like, are there really? I mean, I guess we did just have K-pop Demon Hunters, but I was like, are there really still like big moments for the youth in their way? Like, we had, culturally defining albums, like movies, all this shit. Do that still happen? I think it
I
happens
feel
to an extent for sure. Like there's still like Stranger Things, and there's still like, shit for younger kids like Disney movies, but I don't know if there's still like all that.
I feel like they do happen. I feel like ours were singular things like albums and like moments like that. I think theirs are like the invention of TikTok. Like that's
Yeah.
their cultural change. You know what I mean? Their
But that's
cultural
like,
thing.
it's so to what you're saying, like, I don't know. Is it going to be like kids in 10 years who are like, the 20-year-olds in 10 years, are they going to be like, man, y'all don't remember whatever, like, I'm just, all these viral trends and stuff, they like, there's not even like DVDs of them, you know what I mean? Like, what do you have to remember them by? Are you going to be 30 years old going through your TikTok favorites from a decade ago and like, you know what I mean, keeping up with all that?
I'll probably be compilations. You know what I mean? Like the same way you can Google like a 2009 compilation of funny videos and it'll pull up a compilation of
But
all the
those will
funny.
all be like a lot of videos, but like, there's things that like you and your friends only found funny, you know what I mean, that aren't gonna be on the Vine comps.
Those don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're in like some pocket of media or like a niche algorithm on TikTok or something that only you and your friends have cultivated. You know what I mean? Like take Grand Wizard chat. You know what I mean? Like that's something that I know only certain people know about, and so when I share it with people, like that is not a moment, but like that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like that's our secular thing, and so it's like, do you follow Grand Wizard?
You've talked about him before.
You gotta follow G Dub, bro.
Okay.
You gotta bro. He's hilarious. You gotta follow
Okay.
him.
I'll tap in.
And I don't know if he's going by Grand Tavius. He did get his first account banned or like shut down because he's fucking wild. And he made another one called Grand Davius.
Okay. Just send me the ad after this.
I got you. We gotta get you up on Granny. But like stuff like that. Stuff like that where it's like those are and for anybody who knows what I'm talking about, I'm allowed to. You're not. So yeah. But yeah, I feel like there's those moments, like you're saying, don't really exist anymore. But I also think that they're different. I think that they will maybe not go through their archives and stuff, but I think those things will have lasting impact. Those will be moments for them. Like it'll be like, oh, do you remember that year, those years when we were just on TikTok and everything was on TikTok? Like that's gonna be their thing. And it may not be one song, or it may be one of the viral songs that are on TikTok. They might hear it and be like, oh man, this was crazy when it came out. They might still have those moments, but we don't have the time to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is crazy. Sorry.
I think on our Unk status, we don't feel that impact because like I'm super late every time something's viral on TikTok. Like I'm find trends when they're over.
Yeah.
So it's like
I'll see a compilation of the trend. That'll be how I learn about it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like I think that like for the youth, they're there though. They're there when the trend starts. Like the quarter zip movement, like that's they're there. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be a moment for them. Like in that moment, almost spawns solely on social media, and that social media mainly being TikTok. So it's like that is going to be a moment that they hold in their generation, like as they develop, and it might be a huge turning point for that generation. The same way, like I feel like the same way when No Ceilings dropped, I feel like a generation we all feel like, oh nigga, I can freestyle. Like everybody.
For sure.
So it's like that's the moment for us. You know what I mean? That's
when parties low key for like 2 years. Oh man, that was.
He ruined careers for like 2 years, bro. Yeah. And he would take beats, and the niggas' songs wouldn't get played no more. Niggas would be like,
it's the producer putting their hand on your shoulder and being like, "I got bad news, bro." I sent Wayne the beat. I sent.
Just sorry. Just I don't know how long your song been out, but you got it, the clock's ticking.
Yeah, you
The
might want
clock's
to put out a video today. Like you have. You should just do whatever it takes. Put out a video tonight, brother.
No, I think that like we had our moments, and our moments didn't. They weren't just a thing. Like they weren't just that thing. That thing embodied like a cultural change. Like Take Care, for example. Like nigga, I don't care what nobody say. Niggas got soft when Take Care dropped. Like niggas was singing the bitches.
That was the original quarter zip movement.
Honestly, so we got it again. Drake did it first. Again, just got it again. We found Kendrick. Just saying.
Another one on the board.
Put it up there, man. My boy don't miss. Man.
Don't miss for Drake is crazy, but it is hard for me to. It's hard to conceptualize the fact that like TikTok won't be a thing forever. It won't be the most popular thing forever. More than likely, that's just how social media has worked up until now. What?
I feel the last thing that's gonna come out though.
Well, that was gonna be what I say. I have two sides of me where I'm like, when you talk about, because when I feel kind of like cynical about, kids today having like less culture, but then I think about, for me and like a lot of other kids, like how Tumblr was and how we look back at Tumblr as like, nah, this was like a moment and this was like its own unique thing. And you had to, or even MySpace, people look back at MySpace like you had to be there. It had its own culture. And like, maybe that's how kids will look back at TikTok, but also like what you said, I also feel where it's like, maybe this is it. Like all these other companies are so big that they're just going to buy whatever the next Tumblr type thing that pops up is, and it's going to be subsumed into the vertical video content space. So it's also hard to be like, will they, or is this just like TV now? And it's going to be like, but if it's TV now, then that does make it so the things that they like are like shows, which is, I don't know.
So TikTok is slowly extending how long their clips are. That they started at initially it was 1 minute max.
Oh,
then they went up to 10 minutes max. So it's like eventually they're gonna get to 30-minute max.
No, I got whole podcasts on there. They let you upload up to an hour.
An hour, really?
Yeah, this will be on there eventually.
Oh, I never seen a full video.
Yeah, they have you can upload 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, they're going to get shows soon. There's going to be TikTok TV.
Yeah.
I already wanted to do TikTok radio, but I couldn't figure out the logistics behind it. So,
yeah, there's some interesting live stuff that's going on. Like one thing that's popped up that I don't know if a lot of people are paying attention to is like a lot more like C tier rappers and artists are kind of doing like song ratings and like listening to people's songs. Like I'm thinking specifically if I saw Kyle doing it a bunch. I think.
And Kyle is C tier?
Yeah, I mean, I like Kyle, but Kyle's definitely, in terms of perception, he's definitely not A tier, like objectively. But
yeah, nah.
And then
I would give him
B tier feels like, for me, B tier like is Smino, and I feel like he's still like a level below Smino.
Really? I wouldn't give. I don't know.
You think he's adjacent to Smino?
Yeah, but I would say Smino is also closer to A.
Smino quality wise is A without question, but in terms of popularity, he's not even close to A. Respectfully,
I say I ain't gonna lie to you. In the last couple of years, every time I've said his name, people know who I'm talking about.
I think people who like music and like hip hop know who you're talking about, but he just hasn't had any. I don't think he has had a song on like the Billboard Hot 100, like period. So that's just what I mean.
That's fair.
And then I think of Kyle like right below where Smino's at, where it's like, I feel like B tier is like everyone in rap knows who you are, and C tier is like you have a big fan base, but you're not like ubiquitous in rap.
You don't think Kyle is though? You don't think Broccoli? Oh, not Broccoli. That wasn't him. You don't think I Spy put him there?
I Spy was kind of like a frat rap song more than anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
He had another one though, didn't he? Have another hit?
I don't know about hits. I like Kyle's music, but Kyle's music is very theater kid, and for that, I don't think he's. I think he's just gonna have a harder time being like universally accepted as like a cool
He
rapper.
is.
He's a
He
great
is.
rapper. He's a great rapper, and I like his music. I'm just talking about perception of
Yeah.
him, and I forgot why. Why? Oh, just that he was. Oh yeah, one of these rappers, and yeah, there's other CT rappers doing stuff like that. TikTok Live, it's the wild, wild west, but there's definitely people on there doing stuff and people on there watching. That's that.
I don't know, man. I think this is the kids' moment. I think that TikTok is their moment. I think that's their thing. And I think to what you're saying, in 10 years down the line, I think there will be another TikTok, but it won't, it'll be like when Facebook took off for the MySpace generation. You're like, this is just MySpace without MySpace. You know what I mean? And so it's like, um, I think there's going to be another TikTok like that. And I think the generation that grew up on TikTok now are going to look at it like, oh, this is just TikTok, but not TikTok. You know what I mean? And so it's like they're going to have that feeling. And with that being said, it's going to be like, oh, you just had to be there for TikTok. You know what I mean? You just had to be there for all the viral things. The same way on the early days of YouTube, you just had to be there. You know what I mean? Or when World Star first hit the streets, you just had to be there to be like on the wave of that or to feel the impact of it. And so, yeah, I think this is their thing. I think it's their thing. I think like things like quarter zips coming out of it. I think the whole virality of the songs coming out of it. I think that is their thing. Like that, like it feeds into their instant gratification and their need for validation and attention. Because like they don't have another outlet that is going to satisfy them in that regard. The same way hip hop did for us. Because hip hop was very much so an outlet, not so much of rebellion, but of uniqueness. Where it's like I don't want to be a conventional nigga. You know what I mean? Like and not in space and respectability politics, like I just want to be unique. I want to be different. I want to have my own playlist. I want to have my own curated artists. You know what I mean? Like I want to have my own flair and my own thing. And that's their thing. They got their algorithms, you know what I mean? They got their own little, it's their construct of their moment, you know what I mean? Of where it's their own time capsule of that year or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's honestly a little sad for me though. I think TikTok is too fleeting. I'm sad. I wish they had something like we did.
Well, I think, and this can be the last thing we do, and then let's wrap up. But interesting thing to me is like, it's kind of going back to the Kendrick conversation and the Cardi conversation a little bit, where it's, I don't know, it's just so interesting to me that so many of them, white young people, are interested in rap and like identify with these rappers and these songs off of TikTok. I guess the part that I didn't, another part that's not confusing to me, but like the first rapper I got into heavy was like Kanye and then Childish Gambino and then like Tyler and stuff, right? And the biggest reason was like I saw myself in them so bad, or I wanted to be like, for Kanye, it was like I saw myself in Kanye and he was also aspirational. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so odd when it's like you're a 20-year-old and you're like, I look up to Cardi, and you're like you're like not like, if you're a 20-year-old and you look up to Cardi and like you have black fingernails and you wear like big black baggy clothes, then I get it, because like you're aspiring culturally or, or stylistically. But when you're just like I'm wearing khaki pants and I listen to Cardi, then I'm like, so you're just identifying, you know what, it's harder to see like what you're identifying with for me.
Yeah, like that's how I was. That's what got me started rapping. It was Wiz, Big Crit, Currency, Mac Miller, and Kid Cudi. I saw myself in them so much. I heard myself in them and their music so much. Like my feelings in their music so much. More so Big Crit and Currency. And Kid Cudi, because Mac and Wiz at the time were just making music that like have fun music, but I also felt that fun. Like that's like, oh, this is fun to me. You know what I mean? Like bitches and nice cars, that's cool, but that's not my version of fun. You know what I mean? Like my version of fun is kicking it with the bros at the fucking park, cracking beers, smoking blunts. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like to do. And so I resonated with that. You know what I mean? And so like what you're saying, you could see that in not only my behavior but also my aesthetic. You know what I mean? And that's gotta kind of give it to Wiz. Everybody
was wearing the camo shorts.
Man, yeah, man, that's what it was. My first pair, I got this I had got these this black tank top with like this camo stripe across it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had these camo shorts to match, and I got them together. When I say thought I was the flyest nigga when I walked in school with them black chucks on, nigga could tell me the nigga was Taylor Gang everywhere, nigga. What?
Nah,
Let's,
Taylor Gang was it was so fire back then. Yeah.
I would, man, like that whole. It was so interesting about like all those rappers that I just named, minus Kid Cudi and Big Crit, had their own like little wave. Mac Miller's was most dope. Currency's was Jets, and Wiz Khalifa's was Taylor Gang, and they had their own little like aesthetic and collective with it. You know what I mean? I thought I resonated with that to the point where I tried to start my own little collective, and I did. I had me and my homies. We were like repping something. I got us all matching, like matching clothes, but matching shoes. We all had these blue and black shoes. That was our thing, blue and black. And like we all had our own matching shoes, and like I tried to do that though, because I tried to emulate them, like you're saying, like aspiring. You know what I mean? Like that is, I want to be a lot like that. And so yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
I don't know if the youth got that anymore though. Who do they want to be?
That's what I'm like. Like, what are you? Because even the way you're talking about like the music, like especially the music was like shit that I was like, yeah, this is about me, or like this is informative to me, or anything like that. Where it's like, what? Cardi has no, and I don't want to make this just about Cardi. You could say any white rapper or any rapper a lot of white kids like, but it's like even Kendrick, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you connecting to? Like, it can't all be you just love learning. At some point, you have to be like, I'm also feel connected to this artist, or like feel like I'm seeing myself reflected in some way. But I guess that's not true.
Raul is their favorite album. I'm always like, explain. Like the confusion is be real. But to what you're saying, I don't think that they need connection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need connection. I think that they need virality. I think they care more like, oh, how popular or how funny or how viral is this going to go? Or rather, how viral can I go off of the back of this versus like how substantially good is this? You know what I mean? And I don't think that, and in the day of instant gratification, fuck what you talking about. I need to know if I can dance to that shit. Can I make a clip to that shit? You know what I mean? Like, if I make a clip to that, are there words you're saying that I could visualize in a way that's funny? You know what I mean? And that's how a lot of music is being made now too. A lot of motherfuckers are looking for the one line that is going to make somebody dance, be like, oh, that went fucking hard, or like that encapsulates a feeling or a moment that I can make a video off of. You know what I mean? And so I don't think they give a fuck. I don't think they really care. I don't think we needed that, because we grew up at a time, back to when we were talking about respectability politics, where carving out our identity was extremely difficult. And so the music helped us do that. And it was like, we need that to feel like ourselves. They don't. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need that shit. So like, I guess it's all good. They don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to have a white teenager on the podcast anytime soon. But it is like, then I wonder if there is music they listen to. They're like, well, this feels like it's about me. Because I don't know. I guess people all listen to music for different reasons. And like I said, I generally am listening for the vibe more than anything. But it's easier for me to connect with a vibe with, like, a lot of the rap, most of the rap I listen to is like from the city I'm from people who are my age. You know what I mean? So that like it bops because I understand everything they're talking about and know everything they're referencing and can, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe if you're a white teenager, fucking listen to jazz, or not jazz. Listen to folk. Y'all got to get back into indie rock.
Pop. Yeah, get back into your pop country.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but you can get into. What'd you say?
They was deep in. You don't want the pop country bag to come back, because they was deep in that bag.
I mean, if we're going to talk about it, Big X is trying his damnness to bring it back.
No, I don't. I think he's more so bringing back like soul samples.
You haven't. Okay, so we'll talk about Big X next week, because Big X, both in political, and I don't know if you heard, he put out a country album. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming on, bro. I'll end the show right here. And you want to say goodbye?
Yep. All right, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Drop comments and all that good stuff. Love y'all. We'll be back again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, yo. It's always good chopping it up.
Yeah, you can like or you can wait. Yeah, it's creme fucking brulee. I'm with your babe, cause she look great. Yeah, it's creme fucking brulee. And my shit banks, and my shit wait. We're not the same, stay on my lane. She give me brain, that's my grain. I don't do breaks, I don't do